welcome to Half the Battle. You know what I hate? You know what everybody hates? Clickbait.
Misleading titles that try to draw you in and seem to take up half of freaking YouTube. Well, I don't want any part of that. That's why this video is called Best Defense. Yeah, if I wanted to sucker people in, I'd have called this episode Did G.I.Joe Predict 9/11?
Because, well, they kinda did.
Today, we'll be taking a look at what's, sort of Special Missions Issue 0. This story was originally printed in G.I. Joe issue 50, after the main story, The Battle of Springfield.
By the way, if you read this issue in a trade paperback, then Best Defense is missing.
It was a way to introduce people to the new upcoming Special Missions comic series. These would be standalone stories for the most part, unrelated to the ongoing arcs of the main series.
So, let's have a look.
Since this was part of issue 50, there's no cover to look at. Just an opening page that shows US fighter jets escorting a hijacked Russian passenger plane. The hijackers are Wesson, Merrill, and Roger. They are Trotskyists who have a bone to pick with the Soviet government. Roger has his own issues, as he's got a terminal illness and only has a few weeks to live. So they gave him a bomb with a dead man switch. The Joes are on the ground investigating, and if you're wondering why the US is sending fighters and the Joes after a Russian plane near the Soviet border, well, that's because they have the US chess team aboard. Our heroes discover the home base of the Trotskys, or, to give them their full name, the Leon Trotsky Brigade of the 4th International.
Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
By the way, they discovered their home base because they're listed in the frickin' phone book.
Sure?
I mean, nowadays most terrorist groups have their own website, but even then they don't give out their frickin' home address.
As an aside, ladies and gentlemen, right now I would like to present to you the most petty and pedantic nitpick you'll ever see on this show. More petty than a nostalgia critic, more pedantic than CinemaSins.
In the background here, you can see a plane taking off. It's a Concorde. The problem is that they're in San Francisco, and Concorde never ever flew to San Francisco.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
And there you have it, folks. The most sad, pathetic nitpick you'll ever see on this show. To make up for my bullcrap, let me offer a no-prize solution. A no prize was a fake reward Marvel used to bestow on readers who fixed continuity errors. I submit to you, this isn't a Concorde at all. In fact, it's not even a real plane. This is the Autobot Silverbolt, there on his own business, proving G.I. Joe and Transformers share the same universe.
Anyway,
the US chess champion says he's played out every scenario in his head, and the hijackers always lose. 'Cause that's how that works, I guess.
What, is this guy Doctor Strange now?
Yeah, out of 14 million futures, there's only one where the terrorists win. Merrill would prefer it if he'd shut the hell up. Anyway, their headquarters in San Francisco is already under siege by police when Hawk and Stalker show up. And they just walk in. Hawk saying he's a general and can go wherever the hell he wants, taking orders from the president. Look, I once did a whole video on how G.I. Joe wouldn't be allowed to operate like this because of the Posse Comitatus Act, so I'm not gonna say much, other than his ass would be heading for a court-martial after this.
The Joes are actually putting two plans in motion here.
Hawk and Stalker deal with the base of operations, while Beachhead, Lady J, and Flint get on board the plane during refueling. Hawk and Stalker kill, just about everybody, except for one fat chick, who they take out with a taser, mentioning that she emptied her machine gun because her muscles contracted due to electric shock.
I wonder if that's gonna be relevant later.
At the same time, the others sneak aboard using the wheel wells. Roger slips up and reveals to a flight attendant this isn't your average hijacking, so he shoots her. In fact, he fires his gun right next to his buddy's head.
My body and stiffness. What the hell, Lana? What?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to affect him. Later, the Joes find out Tubby is a rich, poor trust fund kid who found herself a cause to believe in. The comic is clearly mocking her, and that would be fair enough, except that at the time, this was the exact same backstory as the Baroness, so they're accidentally mocking themselves here. She informs them they can torture her all they want, she won't squeal. So they just throw her in a holding pen where she immediately craps herself when she sees the other inmates. So she gives up her information pretty much straight away.
Now, there's two ways to interpret this.
One, and most likely, the comic tells us she's just a spoiled little, well, figuratively little rich kid who breaks under the slightest pressure. Or, and I admit this is less likely, it's a testament to how utterly crap the prison system is.
I'll leave it up to you to decide.
So now we learn the actual plan of the terrorists.
And here's where things get uncomfortable, as we're well past the year 2001. We're no longer in the 80s.
They want to fly to a top-secret chemical weapons depot in Russia and crash the plane into it, releasing the chemicals, potentially killing millions. They took this plane because it has the chess team on board, so US fighters would protect them from being shot down by the Soviets.
At the time, this was a major plot twist as it predates 9/11.
Before that terrible day, it was standard procedure to cooperate with hijackers until they were on the ground, since usually they wanted to fly to Cuba or Libya or wherever and make their demands. The idea of using the aircraft as a missile was almost unthinkable. I say almost since Larry Hama, the writer, evidently thought of the possibility, unfortunately predicting 9/11 pretty much.
Well, isn't this cheerful?
Well, I couldn't not mention the similarities with a real-life terrorist attack, since otherwise people would have wondered why I didn't.
So anyway, let's talk about Lady J's ass. Worst segue ever.
The Joes have entered the plane, with Lady J disguising herself as a flight attendant, and we get a shot of her panties as she's changing. Is this like a Japanese cartoon all of a sudden? I mean, who's this even for? Preteen boys? Is it fan service?
Did fan service even exist back then?
Let's just be happy that Beachhead didn't need to change clothes. Though I am puzzled how he can talk, let alone sing, when he's got a knife in his mouth through a baklava, no less. Lady J is informed this isn't a hijacking, but a suicide mission, so they have to act fast. Flint hides in the toilet, while Beachhead, doesn't really hide all that much. Good thing Meryl is distracted by an agitated Roger, I guess, while Lady J assumes a role as flight attendant.
Then things happen pretty fast.
Beachhead takes on Meryl and gets the drop on her, Wesson gets a shotgun blast at close range through the toilet's door, and Lady J tases Roger, causing his muscles to contract so he can't let go of the dead man switch, as was predicted by the use of the taser earlier. She then blows the plane's door, so Roger gets sucked out and harmlessly explodes outside. The aircraft then changes course away from the Soviet weapons plant, just in time, as the Russian MiGs that had been tailing them were about to open fire.
Okay, a couple of points here.
Yeah, at close range he could get sucked out of the plane, no problem there. I'm just a bit uncertain if his muscles would still be contracting while he slumped over like that. I think he would have gone boom at that point. Also, all those fighter pilots with itchy trigger fingers seem remarkably unconcerned with an explosion just happening in their immediate airspace. And so the day is saved, and we end like it's a goddamn cartoon episode by having Lady J accidentally lock herself in that toilet.
Ha ha ha.
I do have to mention something else. This was in issue 50 of the comic, a big milestone and celebration that brought us the kick-ass Battle of Springfield and the start of the Special Mission series. This must have been a real moment of pride for Hasbro and a great advertisement for their toys.
So, you want to know what was originally on the very last page of this issue?
A freaking ad for mask toys by then rival toy company Kenner. Those sneaky bastards! No way that was a coincidence, them paying for an ad in such a landmark issue. The toy wars of the 80s sure got petty, didn't they? And that was Best Defense. Looking at it just on its own, it's a good story. Though nowadays it should come with a huge asterisk.
It's like watching an old wrestling show with Chris Benoit in it, or anything with Kevin Spacey.
If you can overlook that, it's a fine introduction to an example of the new Special Missions series. A standalone story that focuses on a small team conducting an extraordinary operation.
A special mission, if you will. God, I'm lame.
Still, a panty shot? What the hell, comic?
Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?